Customer states, just need a routine service. Might have hit something a few days ago, but the oil pressure light has been off all week, so I think we're good. Customer came in saying that something just flew by their car as they were driving on the highway. Turned out to be the speed limit sign. And this customer came in saying that they have to refill their coolant all the time, and this is what the mechanics found. This customer came in because they complained about a clunking sound coming from underneath their car. The mechanic found that the transmission mount missed quite a few bolts. Customer came in saying, "Yeah, I brought the lawnmower in too. Figured you could change oil on both while you're anyways at it." Customer states, "My gear shifter is completely stuck and I have no idea why. I've tried wiggling it, I've tried pulling the center console apart, and I even tried Googling it. But nothing works." And this customer had changed his own wheel bearings, rotors, and calipers, but only got about 3 blocks down the street when this happened. And this car had been in for an oil change at another shop, but had to come in because the owner had a really bad rattling noise when driving. The owner of this 97 International truck said that he heard a loud bang and then lost almost all power. The mechanic who pulled this F-250 into the bay found a long list of issues: wheels a bit too wide for the truck, wiring that looked like it had been done during a power outage, and a steering wheel that had a free roam setting turned on by default. This guy came in saying that the gearbox has been a little stiff lately after his cousin sorted it out for him last week. Apparently he can get it into first and reverse, no problem. Third is a bit of a maybe, and the rest he just skips. Customer states his pickup leaks washer fluid. Nothing has been done to the vehicle other than the customer installing some rock lights a few days ago. Customer states car rattles a lot during idle, please advise. And this guy had just bought his first car and needed to change his wheel bearing. He didn't have enough money to bring it into a shop, so he decided to do it himself. He knew it was bad, but he didn't know it was this bad. And this car came in with some electrical issues after the owner's brother-in-law had done some wiring work on it. The mechanic held up the harness and found some of the wires had turned themselves into spaghetti. This customer came in with their motorbike saying it was impossible to get it running after they had borrowed it to a friend over the weekend. Turns out that the clutch was totally destroyed. This truck came in with some electrical issues and clunking sounds after the owner had installed some new extra lights and a fender, all by himself. And this Acura TLX was towed in because of a knock-in sound. Customer came in saying that they were driving home from work when they suddenly heard a loud metallic sound and the car just stopped. Apparently, they had recently let a friend do an oil change for them, but they had apparently forgot to refill the engine with new oil afterwards. Customer states, "My heater stopped blowing and there's a faint rattle somewhere in the dash. I think maybe a wire came loose or something. Can you have a look?" This customer rolled in saying that his car has started to feel a bit wonky lately, but he always washes it once a week and it doesn't have any surface rust whatsoever. Customer states, "I hit like a stop sign or something on my way home from work and now the check engine light is on. Please advise." Huh. Seems like a perfectly acceptable amount of play. Yeah, I'd say so. The owner of this car had been on his way home from a summer road trip when he noticed the front end of the car smelled a little strange. The mechanic put it up on the lift and found the front spoiler and headlight surrounds had partially melted off the car. And this customer was in with their Honda because it was really difficult to get into gear, and this is what the clutch looked like. This car had an overheating problem, and whoever solved it came up with a pretty interesting solution. Someone had wired the engine fan directly to a wall light switch and just dropped it on top of the air intake. Genius, really. Customer states thinks there's a gnome smoking Winston's behind one of his mirrors. And this car came in because it was clunking a lot after the customer had it in for some suspension work at another shop. And this car came in with the milkshake of milkshakes. The mechanic who got underneath this one found the undercarriage looking like it had gone through something pretty serious because it had scraping damage everywhere, a bent exhaust, and a chunk of the lower engine block broken completely off, exposing the flywheel underneath. This mechanic was just doing some routine maintenance on this customer's car when he saw that a scissor jack had been hitching a free ride in the engine bay. And this customer rolled in with their Pontiac saying the steering wheel sits a bit too low. The owner of this car rolled in complaining about a vibrating steering wheel after having balanced the wheels all by himself. Customer states, there's a bit of a draft in the back seat, but I think it's just a bad door seal. The owner of this car had it in for some suspension work at a different shop the week before, but said that he's had a strange badonka-donka sound ever since. And this customer rolled in with their car looking like this after they had borrowed it to their youngest son, who had just gotten his license 3 weeks prior. This customer had repainted the front bumper of his car by himself and came in to see if it was done right. Customer states, bad oil pressure and my engine has no power. This car rolled in after the owner said he heard a loud pop on the highway, but kept driving because only 2 of the 4 tires blew, so he figured the odds were still 50-50 that he'd make it home in one piece. Whoever signed off on this brake job did so with great confidence and a bag of tie wraps. The owner of this car had tried maxing it out on a dyno, but said that they think they were redlining it a bit too long. There's your problem, sir. This customer was 130 miles away from home when their shock broke as they were pulling in to get gas at a gas station. Apparently, the gas station mechanic did a little quick fix for $20 just so that the customer could drive their car home. Customer came in saying that a friend of his has recently started a car restoration shop and that they're quite new with working on cars, but that he believes in them and let them touch up his car for him. The owner of this Hyundai Sonata came in after a cigarette butt had lit a piece of a napkin on fire and almost burnt the whole car out. The customer had apparently smoked right before spending an entire afternoon at IKEA with his wife. This car came in for an oil change after the owner had said that the car has started to tick a lot recently. This car rolled in after the owner said he had just treated himself to a fresh set of tires and wanted a quick inspection to make sure everything was looking good. The mechanic found the rims looking like this. This customer hit something while driving on the highway with his 2019 Chevy Equinox. Once he pulled over, he noticed that he was losing a lot of oil and called a tow truck to get it to the closest shop. Luckily for this customer, he only needed some new oil and a new oil filter. And this oil pan came off looking less like an oil pan and more like an automotive archaeology exhibit. Engine parts, black oil, and the kind of goo that tells you the engine had been trying to say something for a very long time. This truck came in with a starting problem that the customer couldn't for the life of him figure out, until the mechanic popped the hood and found a wiring harness that looked like it had been put together in the dark with half the wires bare and the other half held together with what someone clearly hoped was enough electrical tape to last a lifetime. Customer states, car feels weird ever since I hit something on the road a few weeks back. Please advise. Customer states, doesn't think the car finds her attractive anymore. Customer states, "My back wheel jiggles when going in reverse." The owner of this car came in pretty confident that it was just a minor boost issue. The mechanic opened the hood and found the intake manifold had blown itself completely wide open. The owner of this car had fixed a broken exhaust, all by themselves, using some silicone, but had to come in because the fix wasn't fixing.